quite a while. He is such a decisive Zerg, and that is something so important as a Zerg player. You know, your units all have so few hit points, and it's so micro-intensive, you have to be extremely decisive.
Looks like we've got the scouting probe coming in here. He does pick it off, but at least he's going to know that his opponent's going 4 hatches rather than set, you know, occasional 3-hatch build we see so often with the early layer. He's going to get a few more drones here. Probably going to go for the macro game again unless we see something wild and crazy come up in here in a minute.
And again, we see the Stargate going up with a Citadel. Probably going to pop out a Corsair or 2, get some DTs, see what he can do with those. The DT drop again? No, I don't think we're going to see that on this map.
We might even see a timing attack here with some Zealots. We do see the +1 pretty early.
Oh, is he getting +1 already? Yeah, okay,
there it is.
Then. That is actually a really good build, but the Overlord's sitting there watching it, so you know, that will take away part of the surprise.
Right, you're totally right. He's getting a little bit of training here. That's a neutral crate colony if you're unfamiliar with this map. That was made so that Zerg wouldn't have to put a hatchery at the entrance of their base in order to get Suggit colonies up to defend. Of course, he's just going to get rid of that so he can help with the flow of units which are going to be coming out of his base in the mid-late to late game.
Yep. Now another Overlord just floating right through the main base, going to get rocked by this Corsair. But, you know, he gets a lot of scouting done by it. And Stork just deciding, you know what, I'm going to kill the Overlords that are near me first and then go over. And oftentimes, Protosses choose instead to go scout first and then come back and get those Overlords later.
Right, right. Scout first, especially actually hold that thought here. We did see 3 gateways. I don't want to get behind on what's going on. We have the Hydralisk General here as well. So the timing attack could potentially be effective. It's going to depend on whether or not he can get lurkers in the right spots. But one thing about speed zealots is you can run by the lurkers. Lurkers don't have a ton of range. They're just burrowed. It could deal damage in a line formation all the way across.
Yeah, you know, speed zealots can be really good against this lurker defense. You have to have very good building placement to help block those zealots off. You know, use some drone drills, use really smart Zerglings to slow them down, because the more hits the lurkers get, the worse the zealots are. But as you said, you know, they just run past so quick. Oftentimes, if it's an open area, they're only going to get hit one time. Yes,
this is very true. We do see the Suggit colonies up here. I think the placement of these two is pretty good, actually. Actually, all 4 of the Suggit colonies coming up here, pretty nicely placed.
Yeah, you know, Jaedong not missing a beat. He sees exactly what's going on. There's going to be some sort of timing attack that Stork wants to hit. Sunken's very needed.
Now, one advantage you can get if you do the speed zealot attack, and by the way, +1 is only seconds away from finishing, is you can expand yourself, because Zerg's going to have to defend. This way you can get your 3rd base up before you can get up your robotics facility. And that way you end up with 3 gases right away. In Protoss, they really need that Vespian gas. That can power your army, so you can stop them from getting the 4th base. And stopping them from getting the 4th base, key on this map. We see the Zealots moving in now.
They do have +1, so they're going to be excellent against these Zerglings and Hydras. But good placement here by Jaedong. Lots of Zerglings, and it's looking like it's going to be a pretty close battle here. But the Zealots overpowering for now and running right through into the main base.
Nice timing attack here. Jaedong has been penetrated. He might be going for the Spire. He's got to take out these Zerglings first. He's got the micro perfectly. Jaedong, of course, can continue to send out more and more Zerglings to deal with. But remember, there's also a Corsair taking out Overlords as well.
Yeah, that's part of the beauty of this build. That Corsair gets a lot of free kills, and the Zerglings hatching just in time. You know, that was really nice defense by Jaedong in the choke. Even though he lost his units, he made it very close because he did so much damage to those Zealots.
The Dark Templars on the move. Now remember, the Overlords have been relocated here. You can see Jaedong suddenly realizes that, in fact, he is going to have a Dark Templar in his base. He's going to try to get us around. Stork probably not going to budge. Had he actually gotten that one Overlord, this game might be quite different.
Yeah, he would walk right in there, no problem. But if he goes to check the expansion, that's probably an Overlord making right there. But we don't know for sure. He does not even go to check.
Stork going to try to play it safe. Now, had he gone down there and there was an Overlord, he would have been trapped in that area, surrounded by Zerglings, losing the DT. What surprises me, actually, is that Stork didn't expand when he was doing the timing attack.
Yeah, it looks like he wants a second timing attack follow-up. You know, he's making a lot of High Templars right now. A little bit weird. Maybe a Dragoon High Templar attack? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about this. Normally you make cannons and you know, Nexuses and Templars, so then when it's time for Zerg to turn around and attack you, you're okay, and then you use the Dark Templars to control the map and stop them from taking that 4th base. But, you know, there are variations to this build, and Stork might be tailoring this to the way that Jaedong plays the game.
Indeed, he may. You know, he might want to switch stuff up a little bit, not play the expansion game. Jaedong is the best macro Zerg of all time. So, you know, that is a good insight there.
Same with the Scourge here. I'm kind of shocked, again, that we didn't see any expoing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, and I don't see any observers out there quite yet either. So now Jaedong is going to kind of slow him down. So if he wasn't planning on getting observers and attacking, now he has to get observers and expand. It's
yeah, this is curious. However, this may, in the long run, prevent Jaedong from getting a 4th base, because Jaedong is, of course, going to be cautious about expoing. Jaedong did suffer some losses with the Zerglings there. However, you know, at the same time, Stork didn't really kill a lot of drones with that zealot attack, and it's a lot easier to replenish your Zergling supply really quickly than your zealot supply in this matchup.
It's quite true.
That's one of the burdens for Protoss is in this matchup. I mean, you just don't get a lot of units. Doesn't mean it's unfair, but it's just what happens. He is going to trap these lurkers here. Here's a small blunder here by Jaedong. I feel like Yakety Sax will be playing while these while these lurkers are away.
That's about it. If one lurker does burrow up, he's going to need to grab a observer pretty quickly here. And Jaedong, I mean, his economy is looking pretty sick. He's got a lot of hatcheries. He's got good tech. And Stork's 3rd base is just so slow, man. I don't understand what the thought process is here.
Yeah, I'm a bit curious about that as well.
A lot of mutas popping out. Probably going to try to get in here and either harass a base, like an expansion on the high ground with not enough cannons, or especially snipe some High Templars.
Okay, the Muta's now moving out. Now you got to keep your Templars safe. The whole goal with the Mutalisks is to pick off High Templars, allowing the Zerg's Hydralisks to be much, much, much more powerful than they would be normally. This is kind of the new age way to play Zerg.
And here they come. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down.
Huge. Very successful attack there by Stork, assassinating the High Templars. Make it 4, and a job well done. He did suffer quite a bit of losses there. Actually, one Mutalisk surviving, but it really doesn't matter that much because it's Jaedong's turn to now make his timing attack at this 3rd base, or this would-be 3rd base.
Yeah, man, without those 4 High Templars, his Hydras are going to be that much more powerful.
Right.
And, you know, he's had his 3rd gas for so long that the Muta's not worth as much as these High Templars are to Stork.
Certainly. You know, that's one problem for High Templars. They're low on HP. They're kind of clunky. So, you know, that can be pretty tough to deal with. Especially against somebody like Jaedong who's going to flank you perfectly and target fire your weakest units.
Absolutely. You see the speed overlords going down, scouting the path for these Hydras.
I'm curious if he got dropped.
I don't think so, but that would be interesting if he drops a couple lurkers behind that base, and those cannons are going to be in trouble then.
Okay, we do see excuse me, we're getting a shot of the in-game screen. Okay, here is the observer now coming out here. So he has 2, and he is going to do a drop. He spotted it. That's what I was wondering.
This is absolutely huge.
Moving in here, getting closer and closer, closer. Is he prepared? Another cannon coming up here.
But Stork sees it coming. He's moving around. He does have some zealots behind his natural, but will it be enough? Lurkers burrowing here is going to be huge. No High Templars on this high ground to help him deal with it.
He could storm from the low ground. Theoretically, I don't know if it's actually going to happen. There we have 1.
Those lurkers, they could do a lot of damage here. Take out these probes, but Stork running them away pretty quickly, dealing with that drop reasonably well.
Very nice here. 1 DT blocking the entrance to the expansion. Jaedong trying to attack in 2 places at once so that hopefully Stork's army will only be in 1 location. But the DT drops. Stork's strategy is not going to work. Jaedong's strategy is not going to work.
Wow, beautiful block here. Beautiful block. He does have some High Templars up on this high ground. Nice storm right there, really damaging 3 lurkers and a bunch of Hydras. Jaedong is being held off at every turn, and now it is 3 base against 3 base.
Okay, he's going to try to go around to the other side. This could be a mistake by Jaedong, depending on the angle in which Stork's units approach this scenario. And I don't know if this is going to be too effective. He doesn't seem to have a storm in that High Templar, trying to micro it away. He's going to have some good storms here. Where are the storms?
Oh, pretty good storms right there. The DT falling, but more and more Hydras coming out. Beautiful storms right there. And Stork, can he hold this attack? I think so.
Brilliant play here Actually, big blunder though by Jaedong. Brilliant play by Stork.